enslavement reigned for 250 years on these shores. When it ended, this country could have extended its hallowed principles, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to all regardless of color. But America had other principles in mind. And so for a century after the Civil War, Black people were subjected to a relentless campaign of terror. So it's gone too long without reparations to all who suffered the awful deed. The ship sailed and winter passed. We do not speak regret, so don't you beg me not to ask. The earth to spite you, will you acknowledge that it happened? Said how the slave found its day in the birthplace of hate. Said how the slave found its name in the birthplace of hate.
All right, all right, all right. Peace, y'all. Peace, y'all. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Let me get everybody into this space. It is your girl, Bianca Michelle, coming to you live and direct from the city of Cleveland. And we're bringing you episode 2.2 of the Village Perspective podcast. And today we are talking about being Black and creative. So again, this space is the Village Perspective podcast. This is a digital discussion space where we talk about many things that encompass and culminate into creating a village. And honestly, everything we discuss here is to the aim the intention is to edify the perspective of the village. So today, with our episode being Black and creative, I had to bring in um, some people, some creatives that are Black. So I tapped into my folks, and I said, I want to talk to Mourning a Black Star. That's who I want to speak with. And it's funny when I first talked to I bounced this idea off my friend Eris Edie, who was on episode 1 of the podcast. And she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm reaching out to them for my virtual Juneteenth event." So I was like, wow, this is just synergies, and the universe is just certainly aligning. So I'm so grateful that you guys decided to share this space with me today and took some of your valuable time to be here with us in the village. So welcome. I am familiar with your music. I'm familiar and have relationship and rapport with individual members. I mean, Kyle, we ain't gonna talk about singing in the garage at my brother's house. So we
Yes.
go back like wave cap. So we got some good people here. So before I belabor the point too much, I want to allow you all to introduce yourselves. Please make sure you're unmuted and tell the people who you are. Let's start with Toy and Kyle, because I just know y'all got a ball, bunches of energy over there. So tell the people who you are.
You want to go first? My name is Latoya Kent. I'm one of 3 singers in Mourning a Black Star. I also am part owner of Cleveland Tapes with R.A. Washington. We've been putting out music on independent recordings on that platform for almost 20 years now. And I am also a healer and a yoga teacher. So, and I'm a mom of a 10-year-old young Black man
Right on.
to be.
I am Kyle Kidd. I am one of the 3 vocalists in Mourning a Black Star. I what all was I supposed to say? I forgot.
Whatever you want to say.
Oh, so outside of me creating music, I consider myself this is a newfound way that I identify. I am a multimedia artist. So specifically during this time of like quarantine and going through the pandemic, I have found I've jumped back into some old things that I used to love to do, like the ability to cook more often. I'm very much always into arranging flowers, and I've picked up the camera. So I've been collecting cameras now. And just like diving deeper into all the things it means to be creative and to be Black, and what's most comfortable for me where I am in my life as I'm going into my 30th year of life next month.
You better live.
Yes. So yeah, I'm just a multimedia artist, taking every day and trying to turn it into something more than what it was when I woke up. And yeah.
Do that then. What about you, Brother James? You got to unmute yourself. There we go.
I had to hit that button.
Yeah.
James Longs, one of the 3 vocalists from Mourning Black Star. I basically spend my time singing and making sure that we continue to be creative within our studio and artistically, and coming up with new things so we don't get bogged down in this depressing time. I'm also a martial arts instructor, so we just started teaching the kids again and the adults, using space and making them concentrate on movement more so than the interactive aspect of martial arts. I'm really enjoying that because I think that studying that part makes you really pay attention to the minute details that are important. And I kind of look at this whole situation as an opportunity to really reinvest in yourself and reinvestigate some of the things that you feel that you understand, looking at them from a different perspective. So that's what's up with me.
Absolutely. And so much of your sound, what resonates with me, in addition to the vocals and I don't know how to describe it. I call it like I don't want to say eeriness, but it has this like ethereal sound that I don't know. My adjectives aren't coming together, but a big part of your sound that I love is the horns. They're so prominent and sometimes so aggressive, but then sometimes so melancholy that it draws me in, and it's such a distinctive sound. So got to give it up to one of those elements that's here in the room. So Sister Teresa, can you please tell us who you are?
Yes, Teresa May. I am trumpet player in Mourning A BLKSTAR. I'm also adjunct faculty at John Carroll and Tri-C, teaching world music. And I'm a private trumpet lesson instructor. So I've been doing a lot of online trumpet teaching.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So now that I know who all the individual parts are, like, how do you guys Voltron? How does Mourning A BLKSTAR come together? And if you wouldn't mind, I would love to hear. I've heard it before, but I would love to hear the story of the name of the band.
Toy.
Now, James likes that. That's his thing.
The
Come on,
story about
lay it down,
the
James.
name. All right. Well, I've known R.A. Washington, who is the person that put this whole thing together, for years. And so we were talking about basically getting together and doing a project that we were working on. I didn't know what it was about. And so he invited me to stop by. And actually, he didn't mention it again. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to be so terminally me and not bring it up. So I said, what's up with that thing you were talking about? So he's like, come by next Wednesday to so-and-so's house. So I did that. I thought it was just a meet and greet, and the place is packed full of people. And that's when I met Toy. And so she's on the mic, and I'm watching her, thinking I'm just going to watch the situation. And she starts hammering out these songs. It's literally just on the money improv happening. He got the beats. He's like, this is how it sounds. And then he hands a sheet of paper, and then also she's reading it. She's like, okay, I'm ready. Then she starts singing. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm kind of watching like a spectator. Then he hands me a sheet of paper, and the beats are going. He's like, all right, you're up. Yeah. One of the things, but I kind of like that because, artistic handle that,
Yeah.
We, no sucker and not handle it. So I get up there and I try to push it and move it like the best that I could, which was the first experience for me, because I had never been in a band before or anything like that. And that ended up being a large part of our first album. So it was an incredible experience. And then he calls me up, and we were talking about people I love. And I was like, did you see the new David Bowie album, after he died, it's Black Star. I said, it's a fantastic, you got to listen to this music. I love it. So he takes information that comes across his desk all the time and creates and makes something creative with it. And then he's like, hey, I was thinking about this. What do you think about it? Mourning A BLKSTAR. And at first I was like, really? And then it kind of grew on me, and I was like, okay, I love it. And then that's kind of how we went from there.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's powerful. So what this question, I feel like the obvious answer is there's an obvious answer, but what is your creative lane? I know that there's the band, but what do you feel like is your tool or your lane? What is your creative lane? The vessel that you feel like you identify as your creative tool.
This is gonna sound, I don't really have that. I am the vessel. So I always look at every aspect of my life through a lens of art. I mean, I can't help but do that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I went to CIA, graduated. I've done murals. That was my career, doing murals and restaurant design, etc. I'm a martial artist, so I look at that through an artistic lens. And this singing is actually just the last, thing I've tried. Like I said, I've never done it before. And it's the same thing. I'm just looking at like the angles and the pacing and the timing and how do you, emote, how do you communicate with the viewer? All the rules of art. They cross the lines of the different types of art that you do. So I kind of look at it like that. It just goes through me and comes out the way it does. So.
Give me another perspective, Toy and Kyle. What would you say to chime in on that?
For me, I just consider myself an artist, a full-time artist, And art goes into everything, the way we love, the way we make love, the way we walk, the sounds we hear in our environment, the way we decorate our homes, the way that we interact with people. So I know that being an artist, I can't separate myself from that. Like everything that I do is in connection to being that. So I'm a walking exhibit of and representation of that.
That's beautiful. A walking exhibit.
Um, they said everything that I was going to say.
You're right, Kyle. Don't hop in my community trying to be shy. Like, cut it out.
No, so I think I feel like every day I'm discovering a new lane. The reason I said what I said about being a multimedia artist is I think as creative people who have all of us being blessed to be in so many different lanes at different times. I mean, it's in our mission or our statement or our vision of who we are as an individual. We are genre non-conforming. So I think when we think of genre across the board, like none of us conform to anything because we can be everything.
Yeah.
We possess that power to be everything. It's just about giving yourself the trusting yourself and trusting the process and trusting yourself and the ability to be able to dominate and not just become competent of your lane or your gifts or what you can do, but becoming the principal role of it and giving yourself the approval of doing that. Because I think sometimes culturally culturally and on a societal level as a whole, we limit ourselves to say what we can be and what we can't be.
Absolutely.
So I'm working again in this time, this divine opportunity of being in isolation and alone, as opposed to seeing it as like, oh my God, the pandemic, like, oh, I'm viewing it as divine opportunity, and it has been divine for me because I've been able to see myself in every single lane and not just being competent, like I said, but playing a principal role and being a gatekeeper of the new era. So that's my lane, the new era.
Okay, well, thanks for buttoning up on that shyness. I appreciate it. And
Okay.
showing up with your whole black self. So thank you. Now, so sister trumpetess, what would you say? What would you add to this?
I think I agree with what James Twain-Cal has said so far, but also for me, it's any chance of collaboration. I think I find myself more and better as an artist whenever I have an opportunity to collaborate with someone else. And I think that's why for me, this band, it feels as good as it does when we're creating and performing. My most favorite thing to do is collaborating with other artists. So that's my best lane, and that's been helping me.
That's beautiful, because my thing is in nonprofit spaces we talk often about collective impact. And in another episode that really wasn't supposed to be an episode, it was just a conversation with some girlfriends, but we ended up recording the episode and we were talking about manifesting in our conversation. And we talked about how our manifestation can be so much more amplified if we stop operating as phalanges and really focus on operating as a fist, because we all know that the fist is mightier than the pinky or the thumb or the index. Certainly more mightier than the middle, even though that middle finger got some impact. It's not going to break down any barriers. It's not going to produce enough value that really moves the needle that impacts our people. And so I think it's important that we think about collaboration and collectivism and cooperative opportunities and cooperative economics, not just in our creativity, but in the way that we choose to operate in the spaces and places that we occupy. So thank you for bringing that up, Teresa, in terms of collaboration. I think I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the moment that we're in, where we're at right now, navigating a pandemic and COVID-19, in the midst of uprising, still grieving the loss of lives to gruesome murders at the hands of those who are supposed to be the watchers of our society and keep us safe and protected. But Black men, Black women, trans women, immigrants, Flint still doesn't have clean water. I mean, there's so much going on right now. We're supporting family members in a way that we've never had to. We're adjusting our own boundaries and coping mechanisms in ways we've never had to. We're having to sit and see ourselves enforce isolation and social distancing differently. How has that impacted the way that you nurture your creative? All of those things, because there's so much happening right now. And it's impacting our mental, our physical, our productivity, our professionalism, our tolerance for bullshit. All of that is impacted right now. And certainly I would venture to guess that as a creative being, that your creativity has to be impacted or influenced in some way. How has that shown up for you as creatives?
I think for me, slowing down a little bit. With being an artist, all of us, we're super busy and we were preparing to go on a tour. And so getting everything prepared for that and then that not happening just kind of like slowed my life down so fast that things that I knew were self-care procedures for me, like making sure I get a massage or making sure that I take my longer baths or meditating or doing more yoga or listen to my binaural beats at night. Like all of these things that I was like, I don't have time for that. I have to work on this, I have to work on that. Like it just slowed everything down so that I can really learn more about myself.
Yeah.
We're always learning about who we are, and a lot of things came up that I wasn't even aware of, things that I needed. Um, and so once I started to nurture those aspects of myself, then everything else just kind of flowed from there. I was writing a lot more and I was talking to my friends that are creatives and talking about, creating projects and sending music back and forth. And I wouldn't have had the time to do that before all of this happened. So it's been a blessing and a curse in a lot of ways. There was a point where I started to get like stir crazy, where I just wanted to go do something. I wanted to go have a beer at the bar. I wanted to be on stage performing, and I knew that all of that was shut down. So I had to learn to really redirect all of that energy. And I feel very prepared for this, the ushering of the Renaissance, as Kyle calls it. That is to come after all of this has taken place.
Yeah. For me, as Toy was talking, I was thinking back to January. The end of 2019 was like very busy for Mourning a Black Star. It was very busy for me personally, just like trying to be everywhere, having a full schedule as a full-time artist. To have a full schedule is like boom, all right, and you just gonna keep going, because I think as artists we work so hard for so long to get to that place where we're like, I'm booked, I'm busy, and I'm doing all the things that I have always dreamed and imagined myself doing. And so you kind of get caught up in this sometimes what can be unhealthy pattern of like saying yes to everything, and just putting everything in front of you, and like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And so 2019 for me was very, very busy, and then 2020 followed suit, and so I remember being on the phone with Toy, and I had just came back from Paris, and I was just kind of feeling like I was feeling so full and so like energetic and so excited, um, but I also felt very depleted, and I was like, okay, like my voice, I need to rest. Like, I'm calling my doctor, like, okay, like my ENT, like, all right, I'm having a little vocal things going on. Like, what can I do? And he was like, Kyle, you need to like chill. Like, you need to take a break. And
Sit
I was
down.
like, sit down. Yes. And him and I have a very, very different type of relationship. Like he'll tell me like, listen, like get yourself together. So And I laid out for him what my life for the next 6 months was going to be. I was leaving to go back out of town, and then I was going to London, and then I was going to be going on tour with Mourning a Black Star for like 5 weeks in a row. And like, there was no time to sit down. So the pandemic happened, and of course I lost everything from touring with Mourning a Black Star, things that I personally wanted to do for myself, and then gigs in a matter of 72 hours. But I had to sit back, like being at home and sitting down and relaxing. I was like, this is the divine opportunity that I needed. Mm-hmm. I went for the month of February, and I had chronic laryngitis. And I was like, totally like, oh my God, like, what is my life coming to? And everybody will tell you I can be a little dramatic.
Maybe.
And so I was like, like my career's over. Like, I need to start looking for a job. Like, And but I'm saying all this to say that like I had to like really will myself in and say this is divine opportunity for ushering in this new renaissance and this new era that is here. And you need to make sure that you are prepared and always possible to go into it, and make sure that you are standing in a place where you are seen as essential. Okay. And so here we have all of these things that are happening in the world outside of the pandemic now. Mm-hmm. We are in the midst of a race war. We're in the midst of a spiritual war, yes. which is on the other side. People not even talking about that yet because a lot of people's spirits ain't ready to go there. Right. But making sure that you have all the things that are essential for you to show up and be essential for the new era, and for what you see is necessary to happen in this, because we're not just trying to change things now. We are breaking foundations, digging them up, and laying new concrete.
Disruption. I mean, we're disrupting systems. We're disrupting the status quo. We're moving beyond acts of placation. You can no longer placate us. And we're talking about the impact of impacting us as Black folks and brown folks and immigrants and trans folk. But it's not just us anymore. You got folks in Germany standing with us. Mm-hmm. You got Asians across the globe standing with us.
Listen,
so you can't ignore you can ignore a whisper. You can ignore a grumbling in the back, but you can't ignore a roar. You cannot ignore a roar. So thank you for that. James or Teresa, did you have anything you wanted to add to what Kyle and Toy said?
Yeah, I can say. So I think just like most of my people, we are fighters and survivors. So when when the pandemic and quarantine first hit, the first thing that I thought of was like, okay, well, how am I going to make my income not have a lag or so, or how can I continue to make income? So I don't think I was able to really process much of what was happening at the time because I was just trying to survive and try to keep steady stream of income coming and going directly from in-person teaching to now having to facilitate everything online. So I was fine, or maybe I just thought I was fine for the first couple months until I had time to actually breathe and think about it. But then I just took that time. This is the end of my second week where I just took off, where I was just like, all right, I'm surviving now. Things are okay. Things are better. So I need a break. I need the process. I need time to process. I don't want to have to get up and teach without not being able to feel all the things I'm feeling from everything that's happening. So for me, it was just taking the time and realizing that I needed to take that time to process and heal in whatever way I needed to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Brother James, it's up to you. You don't have to say anything, but you certainly have the space to do so.
It was a weird situation when this whole thing went down. Because my life is spent doing a whole lot of things, and so it was a great opportunity for me to actually just be left alone for a period of time, and so I took advantage of that. I mean, and just kind of settled down and got into myself, and I enjoy that because I do love isolation. But now it's getting to a point where I need to figure out what the next step is. I mean, how do we move forward? Because this cannot be the norm. It just cannot be. And so it's just a matter of sitting here and trying to figure out what adjustments we can make. We even got a new studio, which is larger now, so we can still practice and
That's
have
awesome.
space, space in between each other, which is great. I also work part-time at Cleveland Clinic, so I'm on the front lines dealing with patients and all that and taking them to their appointments, and it's stressful. And I've seen a lot of humanity show up, like the true nature of it, and a lot of compassion and a lot of proper response to fear. Um, and it's humbling, and it's opened my eyes to a lot of things, and it's interesting because it's kind of counter to what's going on in the country in terms of police and the protests. So it seems like it's a perfect time, like a critical mass time, where all these philosophies and these disciplines are coming to the forefront at the exact same time. I think it's a good thing that we're facing all this at the same time. It's going to force us to address it honestly and look for a true solution instead of just, coming up with fake slogans and fake things that we do for each other. So it's an interesting time. I always say the best things that happen to you rarely are, and the worst things that happen to you never are. And I believe that to be the case while everybody's going through the stresses and these struggles, and it seems dire. I think in hindsight, it's going to be a situation where we look back and we see it as one of the most valuable, important times that we've had as a society and as a species. So that's my take on it.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And
Can I say something really quick?
I got the feedback. Of course.
Oh, there I am.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
One of the things that I think has been a little bit difficult for me during this time is that I've had not as many of my Black friends reaching out, except for my inner circle. But I've had a lot of white allies. I've had a lot of my white friends just checking in, like, hey, how can I be supportive? I don't really know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't know if this is sensitive or insensitive, but just really saying, like, can I help march this march for you because you're a target? And the day of the rally, a friend reached out and she said, are you going to the rally? And I said, I have a young son. I don't think that I want, to have him down there. I don't know what's going to happen. And she was like, you know what? You stay home. I'm going to go down there and I'm going to represent, for you and in this space. And it meant a lot to me, but I've also been getting a ton of calls and messages asking those same questions over and over again. I had a friend bring me a care package a couple of days ago, and it had yoga classes, and it had where I can sign in for free yoga classes, where I can call and have a Reiki session. It had candles, it had incense, it had snacks, it had bath bombs and bath salts and a candle and wine. And I was just like overwhelmed because I felt like I needed it, but I didn't know how to say that was something that I really needed. But it just like it brought me to tears because it's all these things that we forget that we need, but also that we have to check in with each other more often and just ask those questions. Because I think sometimes as Black people, we're like, well, you Black and I'm Black, so I know what you're feeling because I'm feeling the same thing, but we don't know. Each one of us has a different way that we're channeling this and a different way that we're absorbing all of the energy. And it's not just information. It's not just, okay, I watch the news and this information is bothering me, or the posts on social media are making me feel whatever feelings you feel. But like, what are those quiet moments where you're just feeling the energy of the world, the excitement of what's happening and how change can and will definitely take place. But like, how do we deal with that? And I'm saying this to say that I just want all of us to just check in with each other a little bit more, just to say, you good?
Yeah.
We do that anyway as a culture, we do, but now we
Right.
really need it because some of us are suffering.
You are
Well,
absolutely right.
I
You are
want to add on to
absolutely right.
what Toy was saying. I received one of those packages as well, and it is a newfound organization. I don't even want to call it organization because it's not an organization, but there's organization happening
Right.
Around, non-melanated people right now trying to figure out how can I stand in the gap without being in the way.
Right.
Yes.
That has been a conversation that I think has hung over all of our heads, and nobody has really had the answer because a lot of Black people don't want to teach. They don't feel like teaching because we've been teaching all our lives,
Right.
And if it's before my time, my ancestors were teaching how to do certain things or whatever, and so this is an action by non-melanated people trying to stand in the gap right now, and they're just creating care packages. You can follow them on Instagram. It's reparations period now period CLE. And it's basically Black people sending DM messages saying specifics of what they need in a care package, or they can just get a general package with incense and candles and stones and words of affirmation and bath salts, different things like that, just to give the just to offer that space to say, I see you, you are loved, and your self-care matters, and it is and that to me, that was just so beautiful. Even when they reach out to me to say, what do you need, I was like, somebody's actually thinking about and caring about what we need, what I need as an individual, and not asking me to be on the front lines, and not asking me to teach or to do, to do all of the things that we're used to doing. And that means a lot because our first instinct as a culture is to say, oh, all right, this need to happen. A pandemic is happening. We know how to take care of ourselves. I was joking with my mother and I was like, I went to the store and got dry beans because my grandmother taught me how
That's
to
right.
dry beans. Listen, I make greens. I knew they
That's
was gonna have a
right.
shortage on meat, so I make some good old
You
beans.
better. You better.
Listen, so
Pot of
with
greens, some
us,
cornbread, and some beans stretch
All that.
look, you will be fed. You will be fed
Real
for
food.
days.
for days.
I never got any.
Seven, you can eat
Just
beans, cornbread, and
Teresa, you messy. You messy. You
Teresa
messy.
said her self care is them greens and that cornbread.
Yes. But my thing, I say that to say we're joking and laughing about it because we know as a culture that is what our ancestors created to create, to nourish our bodies, to nourish our souls, and so that's what we jump to. But to have a whole nother side of it coming, like, here,
sure.
all right, go ahead and cook what you want to eat, but after you're done cooking, take this bath,
Yeah.
sign on and get this yoga class, some relaxation.
Love on yourself. Love on yourself for a
Love on
spell.
yourself.
Yes.
Love
For a
on yourself.
spell.
And
For a
so
spell.
I don't know. I had to add on to what Toy was saying with that piece because I think it's important, and reparations are important. And reparations are not specifically money right now. Reparations can come in a lot of different forms to get you to the point to continue to do the work to get that money.
Yeah, we can get to that technical reparations, but the reparations of now is a care package or a call that shows genuine concern and following up on a call to action, like you said, that allows me to support but doesn't impede or
Right.
doesn't doesn't allow my privilege to show up and present more than my intention does.
Yes.
So really
I,
thinking about those things, that's a forms of reparation right now. So I want to make sure I got that right. It's reparations.now.cle.
Yes, and if you can send me a message and I can direct you if you don't feel comfortable. It is a program, a new startup program that literally just came into fruition, and it is led by white people. And if you are non-melanated individuals, if you don't feel comfortable reaching out directly, I am definitely more than willing to be the person the person in between, and there are a few others of us who can make those connections for you as well. But it
Yeah.
is, It's
Well,
something that's necessary right now.
I'm not gonna block my blessings, so tap me in because your
Yes.
sister for you some
This is a
candles,
package.
some candles and a crystal. I'm partial to some stones. Go ahead and send me a house plant. I mean,
Yes.
I don't care libations.
Bianca, Bianca, I'm telling you seriously, the way that it's working is the white people or non-melanated individuals are gathering together and sending it to their friends and family
Tap
members
me
and
in.
saying this is the immediate need right now. And I feel like on the other end of it, it is our job to send it to our friends like, listen, this is available for you. What do you need?
We have to share resources. We have to share resources, and the benefit of having a network is when it actually works.
Yes.
My network works to be able to have you in this space and time with me right now. My network works when I'm looking for a graphic designer. I text 3 people and get 10 recommendations. My network works when somebody calls me and says, my 10-year-old is fascinated with the trumpet. Do you know any instructors? Sure do. You have to share resources. And
Well,
not only share resources that we benefit from, but
yes.
all of those opportunities that I have to refer, I'm
Yeah.
referring Black.
And if I would love for people in the comments, or if they want to send it to you, Bianca, and you send it to me or Toy or whoever, for that program, a list of Black owned businesses in Cleveland that the money that they are getting from
Yeah.
sponsors, they can, if it's wine, if there's a Black owned wine company, we
Yeah.
know Lena. So
Yes.
like making sure
Lena
that that
Wine.
money is going into Lena's pocket, or people who are making
Right.
candles that are Black businesses.
Chateau de Huff. Chateau Huff is another Black winery. So you are absolutely right. And you're right again on another point. Get active in the comments. I know you guys are watching. I see your eyes. I see your comments. I can't respond to everything because I'm tapped in talking to my people right now. But get active in the comments. If you have a Black business that we can refer to reparations.now.cle so that they can include them in care packages, now you're getting resources for yourself and supporting a Black owned business. That is a double form of protest. I've said it already, so I'm not going to belabor the point, but everybody's protest is not at a march or the front lines. Your protest is you showing up as your Black ass whole self in the spaces that you occupy and advocating for the liberation of Black folks. That is your protest. Because when I was 21, I was on them marches. My 37-year-old niece says that I need to be in the rooms with these foundations on the Black doing community development work, talking to my family and checking them on when they have perceptions and ideas that are just totally outside of liberation and bringing it to their attention. That is my protest. My protest is the spending of my dollar. And again, I don't want to sound redundant, but I do want to be repetitive so that the message is clear that we all have lanes. Everybody is needed. And as many of people have said, and my sister, Dr. Arki, and my brother, Julian Khan, remind me, it is only together that we win.
Right.
Period. So I'm off my soapbox. Like I really want to get back to the Black. And I want to get back to Mourning a Black Star because Mourning a Black Star is bigger than this moment. It's bigger than COVID, bars. Mourning a Black Star is, like you said, gender non-conforming collective. And I want the people to know what you have coming up next. I know the tour might be on pause, but tell me, what can people do to support your music, your art? How can they support you? What's coming down the pipeline? What's going on?
Patreon.
So as soon as COVID hit, we put an album out on May 15th. So it was in the midst of COVID. And so we didn't get to have our record release party, and we didn't get to, we were going on tour. And so we were kind of like brainstorming, like, what can we do to keep our fans engaged? Because, we travel all over the US and Canada, and we have a lot of people that just really adore connecting with us. And we spend a lot of time when we're touring just connecting with the fans and talking to people and hanging out and performing. And so we created a Patreon, and the Patreon has content that is not on our other social media services. So it's videos and photos and interviews and
you get to
merchandise.
See me a little bit. They tell all my secrets on our Patreon.
But it's a a way for people to get the kind of the behind the scenes, like what we do in practice and how silly we can be. But also we are very much like a family, and a family, you know, you get along, you work towards getting along because you're a family. But sometimes, you know, it's 8 different people, so we have different opinions and different lifestyles. And for me and for many of us, just us existing, and we we fund our own tours, and we pay for our own transportation and gas and all of these things, and our own Airbnbs when we go out of town. And we really developed a way to travel and be a band in-house.
Yeah.
Everything that we bring in, we put back into our music. We put back into our equipment and our new practice space. And
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
and also just to add, our, you know, like as things are becoming larger than just us, you know, we're in a different place than we were 5 years ago when the band started. We're in a different place than we were 6 months ago when the band was continuing to prepare for our release. So that means team expansion. And you know, we have ourselves that we're working um, in our ways that we feel comfortable and we feel like we can move, of trying to keep this independent, self-driven machine going. But now it's time for us to bring some external resources in. And so we're artists, so we believe in bringing artists in to collaborate with, like you said earlier, collaboration, where their expertise lie. So, and we want to pay them, and we want to bring them into our family, and you know, things like that. So that's something we're moving towards as well, and that the Patreon really supports us being able to expand our team and expand our family to get this message to a more broad audience. Like, you know, our music has reached across to Europe and a lot of other places that we never imagined. And so on the other side of this, we need to get there so that we can be tangible and continue this message. So the Patreon is really, really a big support for us. And, you know, we saw a lot of support this past week with the band camp.
Yes.
And we were able to support organizations that that we feel are keeping up the good fight and getting the message across, where, you know, of supporting Black artists and supporting Black organizations that are going to support the continuing of protesting and having a voice, or supporting the voices that are seeming to go unheard or falling between the cracks.
Right.
So the Patreon is not just for us to post stuff up and, you know, whatever. Yeah, we get creative, we get fun with it, but we're trying to make sure that we're pipelining it to something to grow bigger and larger.
You got to do it. And I'm glad you created a lane for me to become a patron of the arts, because I gave at the Garner Poems level, the tier. I got my t-shirt. I wanted my t-shirt.
Yes.
I was real focused on that. And RA, I patronized RA. I got me a hand type poem off the top. But I got one of those, and it's framed in my hallway. So I appreciate, you know, I used to ask people as like a question to get to know them. Like, if you could live in any decade, period of time, history, past, present, or future, what decade would you choose? And I would have chose either the Harlem Renaissance or right at the like end of the 70s. Like, yeah, the 70s. Like, I'd have been real coked out and hippied up. Or I'd have been in that art community in the Harlem Renaissance. Like, and so to be a patron of the arts now, like I was just talking last night or this morning actually about starting me a little savings account, because I want to commission a piece from James Quarles. I love his art, and I want to be able to pay for that value. So I'm saving my pennies and my quarters and my dollar bills to be able to be a patron of his. So giving $25 a month to be a patron of this band and this collective of creatives is honestly, and it's a humble privilege. And I feel so grateful that I'm in an economic, mental, spiritual position, a creative alignment position, that our taste and our palette aligns, that I can support that and not feel like I'm obligated, but feel like I'm sowing a seed into fertile ground. So thank you. Thank you for creating
Thank
this.
you.
Thank you. It helps.
Yeah. Can I also and forgive me. I think my Wi-Fi is struggling because
You still
it's
got your
extra.
voice, though. You still here. You still here.
Oh, okay. I'm having to piece together what everyone's saying because my sound is cutting out. But I just wanted to add that if you cannot support financially, and Kyle may have already said this, but also by following us, that's really helpful too.
Yes.
We're on all the social media platforms, IG, Facebook. We have a YouTube channel. You can subscribe to that. We're also on Twitter. And then if you listen to our music on YouTube, if you share it with your family and friends, that's word of mouth is where it's at.
Yeah.
Especially for the community.
Yeah.
Thank
Like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share, folks. On all of the platforms that she just mentioned. Like, subscribe, and share. Turn your notifications on and go ahead and drop off 5, 10, 25 into that Patreon 100. Do what you can.
I was sitting here thinking as Teresa was saying that, and I think, and this is me getting back excited again, but like, how so many, I feel like non-melanated people are asking like, well, what does this mean, and what is white privilege? Like, I don't really know what that means. Buy our album. Send them the link to our album so we can educate them. Let this art educate them.
Yes.
Labor that you don't have to do because it's there.
Okay, Kyle.
It's there.
Yes.
And buy it as a gift. Birthday's coming up every year. Christmas coming up every year.
Every calendar year rolls around at the same time. At the same time. Talk about consistency. I have the opportunity for you to consistently give me something every year.
Every single year.
Every year.
My daddy been buying me a Bible since I was 1 year old. Every single year.
Every
year.
year.
Mourning a Black Star album every year.
Every year. Every year. Ashe. So I've connected people to your social. I got it popping up on the screen sporadically so folks know where to go to support you, to sow a seed, to support the art, to listen to the music, watch the visuals. Don't play yourself and not watch the visuals that accompanies this music. Don't play yourself. Don't do that. Don't do that. So before we get into the Jerry Springer final thought, as I like to say, I made a mistake, but I'm only human and I give myself some grace. But I usually start this space and time with my guests and my family because now you guys are villagers. This is Village Perspective Podcast. You are now villagers, so welcome to the village.
Okay.
I forgot to start with gratitude, y'all.
Oh yes.
I did not start with gratitude. So we have to do it. I have to do it. I invite you to participate with me and do 3 moments of gratitude. And 3 moments of gratitude is really easy. It's a simple practice that I do and try to share with community of expressing gratitude. That's for my own self-care and self-love journey that I do this. And so all we do is say 3 things that we're grateful for and we move on. So I'm going to invite Mourning A Black Star to participate with me. I'm going to model the behavior and then you guys can individually chime in with 3 things, or because, a couple of us, you can each give 1 or 2. The space is yours, but no more than 3 things that you're grateful for. We are on a time crunch. But I like to start my moments of gratitude the same way every time, because first and foremost, I'm thankful for my breath. I'm grateful for my inhale and my exhale. So I'm going to invite you to breathe with me. We're going to do that 2 more times. We're going to inhale as deep as is comfortable for you, and you release and exhale that breath as slowly as you can. And then we'll do it again. So let's breathe together. Let's do it right now. Let's inhale and exhale. The last time, let's make it count. Let's inhale for a count of 4, and then we're going to hold it, and then we're going to exhale slowly and as is comfortable for you. We'll push that last breath out. Let's do this together. 1 time for the 1 time. Let's inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. Now exhale. Release that breath. Yes. So I am grateful for my breath because it lets me know I'm alive with every inhale and every exhale. So secondly, I'm going to say that I am grateful for technology. I said this earlier, but specifically, I'm gonna shout out this here Apple Watch that I got for myself. This is my first Apple Watch. Haven't had one, wasn't really believing the hype, but I am a believer. I appreciate it for so many different reasons, but above all else, it allows me to enhance my productivity, which is important to me. And having it integrate with other devices really just helps me out when my phone is dying and I can see what the message was on my wrist. That's pretty freaking cool. And lastly, I'm thankful for neighbors. We talked a little bit earlier about the network working. My network most definitely works. I had a local gallery in my neighborhood at Fiddlehead donate a piece of art to me, or not donate. They gave it to me at a heavily discounted price because it had some water damage. They wanted to see my space behind me, and I'm not in the space right now because I still got to hang it, but they wanted to see the space where I did my gratitude videos be more aesthetically matching the energy that I was exuding. So she gave me a piece of art. And then another neighbor, my good friend Indigo, said, "Oh, I have a frame that'll fit that." And it didn't fit the art that I bought it for. And I have a mat for it. And she dropped it off on my porch this morning. I came home from checking in on my office, and I have a frame. And now I have a beautifully locally painted original piece of artwork in a beautiful frame that I can now hang on my wall so that my backdrop for my 3 moments of gratitude and the podcast is aesthetically pleasing and matches the energy and my intention. I'm grateful for my neighbors. I love my neighborhood. I love my community because everybody that I touch and that I look to cultivate relationships are truly about common unity. And I appreciate that. And I'm grateful for that. So those are my 3 moments. I'm grateful for my breath. I'm grateful for this here Apple Watch and tech that supports my productivity. And I am grateful for neighbors and my network that truly does work. So that's 3 moments of gratitude, y'all. That's what I'm grateful for. I'm just gonna ask Mourning a Black Star, is there anything that you're grateful for today that you want to share with the village?
Perspective.
Perspective. You better shout out the name of this podcast.
The village perspective, the ability, because right now the what we're going through is people fighting for the voice to be heard, and so and to be seen.
Yes.
And that all comes with perspective. And so you creating a platform for there to be perspective and sharing perspective, because we're all different. We all see things different.
Absolutely.
But the value of having a perspective, because it's looked over all the time. And sometimes we overlook our own perspective. So
we
again,
do.
with this divine opportunity, I'm grateful for the divine opportunity right now too. Of being able to look and rethink my perspective.
Ashe. Anybody else want to express some gratitude while we're together?
That was pretty good.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, I'm grateful for the new studio space we have. I want to we have space. We got a place.
I'm gonna.
What's up?
No, go ahead, James.
Oh, okay. The whole new studio space, we got a place where we can just escape everything in our life and go in there and create. We're creating some great music right now. We haven't made any new music in a while, and now we have the opportunity. We've created some great songs. We have a lot of stuff coming up. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity, and I'm grateful to be a witness, to be able to be a witness to this evolution.
I'm a witness.
Going on. We're lucky to be at this time, because we can record it and remember it and be part of it. So I'm grateful for that opportunity.
Yes, these archives are going to be amazing. The archives from these moments, the images, the videos, commentary from this moment in time that we're living in is going to be phenomenal. So I agree with that, James. Grateful to be a witness. Anybody else want to add some gratitude to this moment?
For connecting.
Yeah, a couple things. Oh, just kidding.
No, go ahead, Teresa.
She said, just kidding.
I'm thankful for community. I think you and I, Bianca, live in the same neighborhood in the Larchmere area.
Yes, we do.
And the people over here have been really great. So community and resiliency.
Toya, we're going to add something?
I'm just happy to be alive. I'm happy to be alive at this time. I love all the different eras and all the different things that have happened in the past, but now we can take all of the information that we've been given and the examples that we've been given from the past to work towards our future.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel like blessed to have had all of those, our ancestors and our freedom fighters and our rioters and our, activators from the past give us all these little bits of knowledge about ourselves. And now in this time, we can just act together. So I feel very blessed to have incarnated
Yes.
at this time on the planet.
Yes.
And I'm grateful for my band. I will say that.
Yes.
Yes, James.
Yes.
Very, very grateful
Yes.
for my band.
Absolutely.
I was gonna add one.
I too,
I was gonna
sir.
add one to that.
I too am grateful for this band. I'm grateful for this band. I'm grateful for the collection of artists that you all are, and that you're growing to be. And I'm really grateful that you accepted my invitation to share this space with me. I'm so humbled by your creativity, your energy, your persistence, your your genre non-conforming expression. I'm very, very, very much so grateful for you, and I'm gonna manifest an invitation to the studio
Yeah, you
space
got
and
it.
see it for my.
Come on.
It's coming to me. I know it. It's coming to me. It's coming to me. So I can't wait.
We got you.
I can't wait.
That'll be our
Hey,
I cannot wait
that'll be our
to be
follow-up.
invited.
hey, I want to give a
Yes.
shout out to the other band members too: William Washington,
All of them.
Dante Foley, Peter Sadek, and R.A. Washington. What up?
Yes, yes. And they are all in the chat. They are tapped in.
Yeah.
William is already on here. So he is tapping in. Washington Wellness Institute is a Black mental health business, and he loves this conversation.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
he
he is
does.
here. He is here in
wanted
spirit.
To, Bianca, I wanted to add one more moment of gratitude on my
You do
end.
that.
The power of representation and what that
Okay.
means. I think that, with all that's going on, sometimes we get so caught up and we have to go back to the youth. A lot of the work that I've done outside that a lot of people don't know. I've worked with young people for a long time.
I know.
Let's not forget about them and how whatever action or way that we're choosing to protest, that we're making sure that it pours back into their cups, so that when their time comes to be able to fight the fight that they feel is necessary to fight, they can say that there was representation on how I can do this and how I can do it to make change. So making sure that I'm standing in a place to be a good representation of whatever I feel is right.
Mhm. Thank you, Kyle. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Nice.
Yes.
Kyle Kid.
And thank you again, Bianca. We
Yes.
appreciate you.
Yes.
I love
Thank
the name of your podcast. It's so dope. And I'm look forward to tuning in the future and seeing who you have on here. It sounds like most of them are people that we know and already support and appreciate, but allowing them a platform as well to for other people to know them too. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Thank you
So
so much.
thank you.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
I appreciate that. So we're going to close out this space the way that I do every podcast and the way that I end my 3 moment of gratitude posts that are on my Instagram. You can find those on Village Perspective or my personal Instagram account, which is just Bianca Michelle. But as we conclude and we close our time together, I want to encourage you all to be kind to yourself. Show yourself some grace. And once you do that, please be patient with others. Then once you do that, I'm going to invite you to go out into the world and be great. And if you so choose, if you want to exercise your free will, I'm going to invite you to go with God. I'm your girl, Bianca Michelle. This is now the end of episode 2.2, Black and Creative. We had the pleasure and the privilege of speaking with band members of Mourning a Black Star, not the entire collective, but certainly a beautiful, beautiful bunch of Black people. So I thank you again for your time, your talent, your treasure. And before we close out, we're definitely gonna say peace, but we're gonna get into another piece of music from Mourning a Black Star. So, hey guys, tell the people peace.
Peace.
Hey!
Tell the people peace. So we're gonna get into this Garner poem, which is one of my faves. So we're gonna check this out and see what the people think as we usher in the rest of this day. We begin our weekends, and that's it, y'all. So we're gonna start with this piece, and then after that concludes, I'm gonna bid you adieu. I got them bars again, y'all. Here we go with them bars.
I can't breathe. No, it ain't your hands choking me. It's history out of hand with police. Situations critical. You'd agree, yeah. Hey, you agree. They kill children in the park. Murder youth unarmed. They stand on the corner, claiming space that's ours. Hey, they kill children in the park, murder youth unarmed. They stand on the corner, claiming space that's ours. Hey, I can't breathe, it ain't your head. I can't breathe, I can't breathe, it ain't your head. I can't breathe, yeah, it ain't your head. I can't breathe, it ain't your head. I can't breathe, no. Said I can't breathe. I can't breathe. We want fire. We want fire. Burn it to the ground. Burn it to the ground. Can't wait no longer. Do you hear the riot sound? Yeah. Hey, we want fire. We want fire. Burn it to the ground. Burn it to the ground. Can't wait no longer. Do you feel the riot sound? Yeah. Hey, come on. I can't breathe. It ain't your head. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. It ain't your head. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. It ain't your head. I can't breathe. Said I can't breathe. Said I can't breathe.